Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Here we are at EQUITANA 2014, the way of the horse. Phil, we've got 4 big days in front of us. 4 competitors, 3 competitors. A whole mob of horses that haven't seen people very much. And of course, it's not just making a selection out of a mob of horses that haven't been touched by people. It then is putting a halter on them, catching them in a round yard in a humane way, like the safety of the horse, the safety of the people, the welfare of the horse is paramount. And then to introduce the horse to a saddle, to then get on the horse and ride the horse, teach the horse to go left and right, to introduce the horse to rails on the ground, a tarp, and then on the last day, they have to go through quite a complex competition circuit. Well, that's the goal. And one of those exercises is to drag a bale of hay with a rope tied, well not tied, but being held by the rider on this freshly broken horse. It's unimaginable that it can be achieved.
And, you know, for them to be in that small round pen for those 3 days and be real comfy, and then to open the gate and go out, and, man, that arena must look big. I'm nervous. I'm thinking about it. I'm nervous. So I can't wait to see this thing get going.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've got 4 big days ahead of us here. I hope you stay with us.
Time's on.
Time's on, guys. Okay, so the competition's now started, Phil.
Yes.
And we might start up here with Kane as the first person to get introduced here. As you can see, he's got 2 whips there, so that's quite different to some of the other guys already. He's a renowned trainer, having started his horse journey at a young age, influenced by famous horseman Tom Roberts. Travelled to the USA at the age of 16 years and worked his way across ranches and cattle stations. In the middle arena, we have Bianca believes in training or starting at the beginning when it comes to working with horses. As a clinician and educator, she specialises in foundation training, teaching the basics of good horsemanship, principles around Australia by her Boot Camp for Broncs horsemanship clinics. And you can see the 2 boys have actually made contact with their horses, and right down the bottom here is Bruce Adele. And Bruce Adele, a former professional saddle bronc rider, has started hundreds of horses. He's got a kind of interesting array of equipment, Bruce, down here.
Heath, look, the 2 guys are got hands on their horses already. If we just go back to the basics here, where we have these young horses in this foreign environment. Anybody who knows, been around young horses, anything that's a bit strange to a new environment, it is, they have a sort of a zone, or what we like to call a bubble, that their comfort zone. Now, normally, as you can see, Bruce and Kane, those horses have accepted and are pretty comfortable with them making contact, even first with a light touch. Got a halter on one, the rope on the other. Now, Bianca's horse, it's a little bit more standoffish, and she's gone around it nice and quiet, trying to get that attention. You can see now that she's walked up that horse, the horse has pricked its ears, it's starting to draw to her. We talk about drawing that horse to you. Heath, I'd just like to make a couple of comments on each one, how they progressed. Bianca's, she's got the halter on. Took her a bit longer, horse a little bit more reactive, maybe a little bit more standoffish. So she's on the way. She's got the feel going, getting that horse used to that feel. Bruce, you can see, he got that halter on that horse. First thing he started to do was just bend the nose around a little bit, get it used to a little bit of lateral flexion. He's got to get control of that nose. He also started at that time to move those hips away, get that drive. We'll go back to the motor, the back end, where everything happens. When you see what he's doing here, try to get control of that nose. As soon as the horse give just a little, he rewarded him. The next thing he's trying to do is move that hip away, get that hip moving away and forward. See that inside hind leg stepping over, so he's going forward. He's not going back, it's not a resistance. Kane got the halter on the horse, started to do the same thing, bend the nose around with his hand. He introduced that little pole there, I guess it's probably foam, started to rub him up and down the leg, so he's getting used to a touch on the leg, more of the sensitive parts. Now he's got the sack, we used to call that sacking out. getting that horse used to other objects, flapping around them, starting to, rub him up on the back where that saddle's going to go. So I think they're all making super progress at the moment. You can see Bruce now starting to throw that rug on that horse and flap it around. Like, how foreign is that to a horse? He came in here on a truck about 40 minutes ago. He looks very comfy. He doesn't seem to be too disturbed about it.
So we do have Kane with a sort of this, is it a sort of polystyrene
foam pole
stick? Yeah.
Yep.
And Bruce down here is using the ball and using it around the horse. I mean, the wonderful thing about a ball is if the horse did panic or got a little bit upset, it's impossible for him to hurt himself with a ball. Like with a stick, I mean, I think what Kane's doing is obviously very good, but you could imagine that getting between their legs and maybe giving them a fright. Where with the ball, oh my goodness, you can see what Bruce is doing. Even if the horse did get a little bit of a fright, he can't actually get tangled up in that ball. So it's a fascinating tool. I've never seen it done.
Now Bianca's starting to introduce that flag to the horse, and you see there, she raised it up over the back there for a minute, created a bit of impulsion. She's starting to, you can see that horse, she's starting to move it around there, make that hip move away. She's got that nose tucked into it. The other part, she's also, while doing that, preparing that horse for when she gets on. So that when she pulls that nose, the hip moves away. So she disengages that drive motor. And she's slowly building that confidence, introducing it to that flag. See that ear go down, like that horse, getting that up in the eye, getting her used to all those, absolutely foreign to half an hour ago. Kane's horse is starting to relax there a little bit more now and be a little bit more relaxed with that tarp right there.
I think Bruce is up there,
He's on.
hanging. Yep.
Yep.
That's definitely, would you call that on or just leaning on the horse?
Well, it's as close to getting on without putting that leg over it.
Yeah.
He's familiarising that weight.
It's a tricky thing. They've just got to be because a girth has to go around there, and you can see that's exactly, what Bruce is doing, is trying to get her used to the girth. So it has been the quietest horse, but if it has trouble accepting a girth, then Bruce is in all sorts of trouble later on.
Lots of trouble.
Yeah.
So he's going about it nice, and he's not trying to pull it up too tight, and he's trying to get him to go forward while he's doing that.
Yep.
So the horse he's trying to get him ready for that girth to come on, but we want to try and keep that forward motion going as much as we can and keep that control of that nose. Bruce is still, he's persevering with his girth down there, getting that horse used to that little bit of pressure. Kane's doing the same thing in a different way. He's rubbing this horse under the belly in the girth region to get him used to that. Now look over here. Kane, he's sneaking up on his horse here with this animal. And that horse is going, it's going to eat me.
You can see Bianca actually starting now to make inroads, and that's what she's trying to achieve, that rope over the horse.
Over the horse.
And similar sort of pathway starting to develop here.
And the horse is starting to accept her inside that bubble that horse has. See down here we've got saddle going on, Heath.
Yep, so that's pretty interesting, a significant move here. Now, I don't know, but
got him familiar with it. He's led him around with the blanket on. He's thrown the saddle on and off.
But we're all out of time, so...
Time's up. And everything went off to a booming start, and everything went really well, went to your plan, until we started doing a little association with the girth and putting the halter lead around the horse's girth area and starting to show we might cinch up. And then there was a little resistance there. Can you explain that to us?
She was showing me lots of things that I could have been on her in 30 minutes. But yeah, she just, every time I touched the girth of her, she had a bit of protest. She was wanting to kick it. The more I can do around the girth and make her happy with something around the girth, the better she will be when I have to cinch her up. So.
Hey, how did you feel things are going? It was a big day.
Yeah, he's quite a sensitive horse. He's going along okay, but I'd like to be further along with him, of course. I had to take a couple of steps back simply because he wasn't handling it. Tomorrow we'll start off where we left off and see how we go from there.
How do you think, after your selection, what happened? Are you happy with where you went, or has this little horse thrown a few curveballs at you?
Well, to be honest, the way I felt coming out of the first round, if I can feel the same way in the next rounds, I'll be absolutely so happy, because I just felt really, really happy about how she responded, and I felt satisfied with what I did.
We've got a great day in front of us. Yesterday was fascinating. I think all three competitors, who we will introduce in a moment, are very close together in terms of what they achieved yesterday. I think today we are likely to see one of these competitors, or two of them, start to make progress and break away from the rest of the field, and it'll be very interesting to see who that is. We have three very different techniques being used, and ladies and gentlemen, let's start the time. 75 minutes. Go.
Okay, we're away.
They're away and running.
And you can see these two guys here have, we're trying to do exactly the same thing, get that horse concentrating on them right off, but they're going about it in two completely different ways.
We have Bianca Anders. Really interesting. You can see Bianca has a different sort of piece of equipment in the way of this stick with a flag on it. Each horse is different, so that means that each contestant has to actually go about approaching each horse slightly individually. I mean, that's just part of horsemanship.
You would have seen Bruce, number one, he's driving this horse around for a start. When the horse stops, he gives him a little room. He just moves off him a bit, gives that horse a place to come. He's trying, number one, to connect with that horse, get that eye on him, and build a partnership, build some trust in that horse, so he could slowly get up there and get his hand on him.
Yep.
And see where you can see now that Bianca's moved on. You can see how relaxed this horse is. Bottom jaw's really relaxed, licking its lips. Bianca's gone through this same process where Bruce hit the hurdle yesterday, where she's taken that rope around the girth, showed a little pressure to the horse. It's accepted it really, really nicely. Bianca's now starting to introduce that saddle pad. Some people call this sacking out. Some people call it desensitising. I like to try and think that we're trying to make that horse comfy with the feel and the touch.
Yeah, and you can see Bianca is definitely heading towards saddling this little mare up.
You can see how things are really progressing along here quickly while we've been rambling on. Hello, look out, look out. This is
So while this is going on, someone's going to have to get on that horse very, very shortly. There is a section of this competition where the competitors can call for volunteers. A moment there where it could have gone pear-shaped, I guess. I mean, you've done this a million times, so I guess you knew it wasn't going to, but you had every eye in the stadium on your round yard there for a moment. But the outcome looks fantastic. So what do you think?
The welfare of the horse straight off.
I knew she was still going to do something there, but I tried to keep her in my hand so it wasn't, she wasn't going to prang around the panels or do anything silly like that. But she probably handled it as good as I thought she was going to. She's sensible. She's not going to hurt herself. She's not trying to climb out the yard. I guess if they do, I knew she was going to hump. She's pretty sticky-footed, so they usually have a little bit of a play with the saddle. And by the time I get on her, hopefully we won't be doing that. So.
Do you anticipate being on her today?
Yes, I'd like to. I'm going to go back in and play with her again like I started off this morning, the tarp, the ball, just so she's got a bit more weight on her back when that ball sits up there. So if she reacts to that, no sense me hopping on. Just see what she sort of tells me, really, what the horse is happy for me to do.
So she's doing good. She's a type of mare that if I sort of go that little bit too much, she's going to feel really bad about me. So I'm just building and building and building together so that this doesn't have to be traumatic for her.
The partnership she's built, the trust and the confidence that Bianca has in this horse has in her now, has just seen it. When you walk away from one and one wants to follow you home, like, you've got something going on there. Now you can see Bruce, he started to move this steering mechanism along a little bit more, getting that horse to try and give to that pressure. When the horse gives to the pressure, he releases it. That's the horse's reward for him asking that pressure, teaching him that there will be a reward if the horse gives. If the horse doesn't give, he's just going to continue that nice and gently until the horse does give. He needs that horse to be able to come to that slightest pull of that rope, or we call it a lead rein when he gets on.
I think Bruce felt that just how the horse responded to the ball being in the saddle was a fair indication as to how the horse was going to respond when he was in the saddle. So I think this is probably for Bruce a crucial moment. And you can see Kane is actually working very hard on that idea now, just hopping up and down there, and that's going well.
Bianca's getting in the same. She's getting ready, getting the saddle ready, nice and steady, not trying to rush, throw it up there or frighten that horse. And she's getting ready to get that saddle on and get that horse girthed up. Bruce has actually put a bit of pressure in that stirrup there a minute ago with his knee. He didn't try to put his foot up in there. He's going to try it on. He's doing it again there, just a little pressure. So when you go to step on, you put that foot in the stirrup and that horse feels that pressure of that saddle. He's just building that little mechanism in there very nicely. Horse is real calm. I think we're going to see him on here in not too long.
And certainly Kane has put all of his weight there on his little horse, and there you can see Kane's right off the ground, and that is going well.
Now Bianca's got the saddle aboard.
So now the big question is, when Bianca girths her little horse up, whether she's going to react as Bruce's did and just do a little bit of a bronc, or whether she will just accept it really quietly. It's hard to tell, Phil. Well, I've got to say, during all that action, Kane has made enormous progress, and he's girthed up and hasn't reacted. Now, he's had a whole 2 days of reactions, but maybe the reactions are gone, or did I miss the horse?
No, and showing extreme
acceptance
relaxation
of what Kane's doing.
Yeah.
So Kane maybe just after lots and lots and lots of hard work, he may be about to kick some amazing goals. Well done, Kane.
Well, I think I've hoaxed Bianca down here. Or the little lady's just showing us that, yeah, well, we've got that far and there's a little speed bump come here, so you can see she's just going to go back to trying to draw that horse to her, where the horse will come back in, let her back in that zone and get back to the comfy zone where she can be relaxed and let it patter and feel like the partnership's sort of rebuilding again.
So Bruce is definitely forging ahead.
You can see there he's driving that horse, building that momentum, keeping those feet moving, trying to build a little steering there by just keeping that, tugging that nose in, getting a little feel on that while he's going around and building the steering mechanism up. So they've been trying to make these horses confident in moving forward and moving their feet, so that when they get on and these guys click to the horse as a little cue to move. So when they get on, he's getting the horse real comfy, beautiful moving horse, this horse, moving forward nicely, being able to pull that nose and tip that nose and have a little direction, and see, there's the reward. Unbelievable. So you can see here that, Bruce has gone back to basics right there. He's taken the saddle off, come back in to work his time right to his limit.
Yeah, so Bruce has really backed off.
He's backed off and gone back to the basics, back to the comfy zone, no saddle, having the horse still connect with him.
I think Kane has made a significant connection in the last sort of 10 minutes. The horse is actually following him.
He's gone to the two reins just to try and go to where I can bend him a little to the left, a little to the right.
Yeah.
Even though he's standing on the one side, you saw him first off try to take that nose to the offside. Got really nice flexion to the near side. Bianca's gone back to basics, starting to do a little bit more rubbing down. They've got to be able to pick their feet up. Look at that, pick that feet up, nice and calm and relaxed. Didn't try to hold
For a
it.
horse she couldn't get anywhere near, she's doing a wonderful job down there.
Kane's getting ready here. He's got the foot in the stirrup. He's getting ready to. This little horse has really relaxed back and built that trust in him, and he's starting to let him do anything he wants to do.
And I think Kane's time is probably up. He'll be instructed he's been told time's up.
Bruce, everything moved along very, very well again with your little horse, and then there were a couple of hiccups again. What were you thinking right then?
What I was thinking with her, I was wishing she'd just stay awake and keep her eyes on the ball, really. I think today where we started off was definitely a lot better than where we finished off yesterday, or where we finished off yesterday was good. Like, I could touch a girth, she wasn't kicking at me or trying to nip at me. I think we're making progress, she's making progress.
And I want to ask Kane what he thought of his progress. Made awesome progress from yesterday. Kane, give us your version, mate.
Yeah, it was good progress. I took a step back today and it sort of joined him up a bit more today and didn't worry too much about the desensitising that we tried yesterday, and got him more listening to what I want him to do, and he responded really well.
Just run us through what happened today. How did you work such miracles?
Well, I really just kept building that foundation. That's really what I'm all about, is those basic steps to help her build confidence. When it came to the girthing and the saddling, I wanted to help her out during the saddling process so that I can then saddle her again and she doesn't have any fear related. But the reason I let her go around and experience that was on her own terms, so she could actually deal with that without me involved. But the way she held up through all the steps, I was so proud of her.
Could you just go over what we think Bianca is doing here today, and right from the start?
Look what's happened straight away. Horse wants to walk up to her. She's going to reconnect with this horse, get up there, get a hand on her, start to reassure it, get that halter on and start that horse moving around.
Yeah, so you can see Bruce is away and running, and you can see like he's picking up the legs, and this mare has been very quiet right from the start. And I'm just watching Bruce, he's already running his hands over, and you can see it's under the tummy there. Bianca had tried that in the first day. This mare would have just bolted and hit the other side of the round yard. I mean, that is a sensational turnaround for the mare in 2 days.
You can see straight away, once Bruce got that halter on the horse, he's gone straight back to asking that horse to give nice and kind to the side so he can get control out of that nose, moving that hip away from him, disengage those hindquarters so when he gets up there, he's got some control. So look down here at Kane. He's got his horse trotting around after him.
That's pretty amazing, the most difficult of all three, and he's got him following him. And you can just see that Kane's not even touching the horse. That's amazing effort just to get the horse like that. It's interesting, you can see Bianca's there away and running with the saddle up there. This little mare did actually buck yesterday or bronk a little bit when it was first girthed up. And Bruce actually was sitting on top of this little mare, but she also did bronk a little bit, and she has lifted the saddle beautifully, and it was inexplicable. It was an amazing turnaround.
These contestants have basically had 130 minutes the last 2 days to get to this spot.
There, and you can see Bruce was anticipating this. He just said that he felt the mare was just inclined to do that, and you can see him moving her feet, keeping her moving there.
Now, Kane's moving that horse around, using that lead rope to try and move that hip away. He's also starting to introduce that girth in a way. He's trying to throw that rope up over the back there, and I'm sure when the horse starts to relax and accept that, he's going to reach underneath and tighten it up, bring it up a little firmer on that horse's belly as we all try to get those young horses to accept that girth for the first time. Heath, you can see now that Kane's added the snaffle. No reins, as some of the audience might wonder. But while he's going through all these other little routines in his training way, that horse is chewing the bridle, getting used to that foreign piece of metal in his mouth, trying to, get his tongue used to that laying on his tongue, and looks quite happy. But that's another little step, looking towards the end of where he's going, and maybe having some reins on that by the end of the session, and maybe just tipping his nose around.
It's really interesting here. Bruce is just hopping on and getting very close to hopping on, and when there's an issue, he does get the horses to move their feet.
And the other interesting thing, Heath, that Bianca's taken the halter off her horse and trying to really get it moving around freely, like lunging, driving it with a whip and a bit of flag, but with no contact on the head at all. So she's really trying to get this horse to zone in on her without any contact on the head.
It's really interesting with Kane here. This was definitely had enormous problems on the first day with that tarp. And for those of you watching it, he picked that tarp up, and his little mare just continued to follow him then. So you can see down here that Kane is having enormous success. This little gelding has not bucked or humped or bronked at all.
Now you can see up here, Bianca's put her tarp on the ground and she's starting to lunge this horse.
She's created a training which allows the horse to have a confident situation.
Now see, Bruce,
Wow.
hello. Yep.
And when you see that, you can see how astute that technique is to introduce the tarp without actually being on the horse's back when you're introducing it.
We got Bruce on board.
And this
now,
is Bruce's
see,
first ride here.
He attached that rein on the other side so they can now hopefully be able to pull that nose either way if he needs to. Now see there, the minute the horse come to the spot where Bruce thought, well, I can just bend that little nose around and bring him to a stop, relax, pat him, give him reward, getting that flexion both sides, so he's building that little bit of steering, and for later on, it's only very basic, but that's he's going to need that tomorrow when we start through this course.
I think it's fascinating watching Bianca. Actually, she's backed right off here. I would suggest to you, this little mare down here with Bianca knows what's being asked of her and is just sort of balling up the courage, to go over that. You can see she's seriously examining the possibility of going across that tarp.
See that little mare of Bianca's has moved over that tarp this time, lovely. She's given her the reward, relief. She's looking for the reward from her trainer. So Bruce is loosening the saddle off now, giving it a little bit of a rest in the girth area. I think Kane's getting ready to put the foot in the stirrup down there on his horse. He's getting closer and closer.
So both Kane's horse and Bianca's horse have a serious issue with the tarp. It's a real. Whoa, there we go, and that was beautifully done, Bianca.
You can see Bruce with his obstacles. He's gone back to getting that horse to move forward freely and just be relaxed and start to build it like he didn't ask it to go over the tarp there. Just go around, get a closer feel, and get that horse moving around nice and calmly. Back to moving the feet straight over the tarp.
Just keep an eye on Kane's horse. He's about to get on here. Things are pretty delicately balanced. Well, it's a critical moment. I think Kane's horse is actually taking this very well. Bruce putting the saddle back on there, Phil.
Yeah, and Bianca as well. She's now built that little bit of trust going over that tarp and the pole. Now she's resaddled, put the halter back on. I'd say she's working towards getting up on that little mare.
I'm just watching Kane here on his first ride, and he's doing brilliantly. I can tell you if we had Bruce's, and this little mare of Bruce's definitely struggles with the idea of the girth. Bruce and the mare have obviously got a great relationship going there, and they understand each other. It doesn't change the fact that the mare has a problem with the girth. Kane, on the other hand, is, I'm sure if you had a heart monitor on him right now, I think it would be up in the 280 sort of beats per minute mark. Bruce is actually already starting to go over rails here whilst in the saddle, so this will be the first time I think the horse has been over a rail whilst under saddle. Bianca's definitely sort of moving, inching towards being on the back of this little mare.
Look at him, cantering this horse around already.
Now to think about the clapping, I know we all want to clap, that's just brilliant.
So Bianca's moved up, foot in the stirrup, got some weight in the saddle. She's getting closer and closer to where she wants to be on top of that horse. And doing it lovely and quietly and trying to keep that little mare as calm as she can. Still
so that's Bruce O'Dell right in the middle there, and that is truly, truly amazing. Kane coming back to this sort of little nightmare that lives in this little gelding's mind, where he is mortified of the tarp. And you can see Kane actually trying to use the fact that he's prepared to stand on the tarp, so he's not asking the horse to do something that he's not prepared to do.
Up here, Bianca's put the leg over this horse up here, Heath. We're getting closer and closer.
Significant moment up there for Bianca, ladies and gentlemen. Here goes Bruce O'Dell with no saddle. So Bruce has really backed off. I think he feels like he's done what he wants to do today. And he's picking the feet up. He's just sort of re-establishing a happy relationship there.
Bianca's getting ready to try and actually move that little mare off. Very quietly and built those little steps, got that nose around, trying to just rock her off balance so she might be able to move that hip. See Bianca's mare there, the first thing she really wanted to do was just back up, and I'm sure that Bianca doesn't want that. She wants this little mare to go forward, go back to being relaxed and moving forward.
I got to tell you, Kane is so close to encouraging his little gelding over this plastic. It is very close.
And Bianca's just persisting along here, keeping that confidence up, not trying to push that horse too hard. Still building the trust in that horse, moving along really nice and slowly, giving it plenty of reward.
That's standing on the tarp. That's got to be worth a pat, Kane. That's brilliant. That is sheer determination and persistent and quiet sort of direction. Ladies and gentlemen, that's it. Right down the bottom, Bianca Gillanders. In the middle, Bruce O'Dell. And right down here near where I'm standing, Kane Lampert. What a great display.
Bruce, you've had a wonderful 8 minutes, I think you pulled up early on the 60-minute span there. And you'd obviously achieved everything you wanted. Your little mare trotted and cantered both directions under saddle. It went over poles and it went over the tarp. You tell me, but I can't imagine you could have hoped for a better outcome.
No, she was absolutely spot on today. I thought she would be good. We've sort of ironed a few issues out. She's still got the girth issue, and that's probably going to be there for another week or so, and she'll get over that anyhow. But yeah, she just done everything that I asked her to. She was nice and soft, and well, I thought she was anyhow. She was soft for me, and I didn't think, she's been telling me all the way through the tarps, any obstacles I didn't think were going to be a challenge for her. She's brave enough to do things. Yeah, she's a really, really nice little mare, and I think the cream's come to the top today with her.
Bianca, through the third, you got the mare pretty comfy with it. Just give us a little insight to how you felt and where you think you'll be able to go with her tomorrow.
Well, I was wrapped with her. It was really important to me that she'd accepted that saddle. She showed that by not bucking at all in this session. She was completely loose with that, a lot better. Like, she, of course, needs more time, but that was all there. And she was right with me, just right there saying, what do you want me to do? And so if I had just had a fraction more time, I would have gone on. But this is the thing with the competition with time limits. I can't use that as an excuse, but I couldn't be happier. I couldn't be happier with her.
There's no question you've done extremely well. Give us a rundown on how you saw today.
You know, it started off really well. He joined up well, and I had him free lunging in there behind me, trotting up. From there we went to the saddling and then getting on his back, walk, trot and cantered around the circle. He was fantastic. And like you say, I came back to that dreaded tarp, and it was tough, but once I started I couldn't stop. And that's just the way it goes as long as it takes. An extra 10 minutes, I reckon I would have had him standing on there all 4 feet. But that's the way it goes. So tomorrow, same thing. We'll just see how he copes and see how much of that sinks in overnight, and we'll go from there.
You can see today she's wasting no time. She brought it in, got that horse trotting around, go straight up, put the saddle on, and is trying to use all this time up she can and get ready to get out here in this course.
No force whatsoever. That's just purely the mare understanding what Bianca wanted her to do.
She's starting to follow a feel really nicely. She's starting to understand that I can take that power out of her hindquarter. It's very important to allow them to have natural curiosity. If you take away their curiosity, you really take away their spirit. The essence of the horse to me is its curiosity and its willingness to try. So I don't want to take that away. I want her to have as much time as she needs to find her way through, over, whatever I ask her. She's trying, she's giving me everything she can right now. I'd just like to do, for the judges' benefit, I'd just like to work with her feet here. Okay, she's able to handle me getting on, and I'm just going to encourage her now to get those feet going a little bit. There you go, girl.
Bianca, I think we can all see that the beginnings are there, and that's a wonderful job. Bianca Gillander, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I just want to explain a little bit about my mare. Everyone's been saying to me I probably should take the back girth off or do different things like that. She's probably not as much girthy. I think she's just got a little bit of a attitude. She's not trying to buck the saddle off. She's ticklish under the girth. So I'd sort of like her just to work her own way out of that.
This is the first time she's ever been out of the round yard.
That was sort of a hand
line
flick.
go through these.
Down between the rails. That's amazing.
Now, I might even just gallop her across these poles here. We'll go through this.
She's never done that. She's gone over a single rail, never done that.
How much time we got, Heath?
Wow. How do you like that?
There you go.
Good girl.
And to think to be able to do it in a halter.
That's brilliant. Yeah.
Now, last to go forward again. I've got to drag it to this cone.
Oh, how unbelievable is that?
Might jump the jump.
That's...
Yeah.
Now I'll hop off, and I have been doing a little bit with the feet, so I'll try and pick her feet up, or I'll get them off the ground anyhow. Yeah, she was very sensitive around the whole girth area. She really didn't want me touching too much. So all I've done was rub the legs down pretty much for 2 days, and if she likes me enough, she'll pick them up. Yeah.
Mounting on the incorrect side or the offside. That's a great display. Ladies and gentlemen, for a magnificent horseman, Bruce Adele, and a beautiful, beautiful mare.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
This one, ladies and gentlemen, this is the only gelding in the competition, and he was generally thought to be the most difficult of all three horses. So
When I go forward, and basically I just want to sit there and ask him to go forward, sit up nice and tall, and try and bring my adrenaline back down, which is very hard to do. But because of course he's going to feed off that. Yeah, he's. I've gone on him in here, and I'm going to work him up to his trotting around and cantering around in here today, for starters, because he's definitely not ready just to take straight out into an obstacle course.
So there's the canter right. There's the canter left.
A bit of a back up. We wouldn't ask too much because he's likely to go up as well, but I have been asking him to back up. So we're just going to bring him out here for a little look around first. He hasn't been out here before, so we'll just let him have a little look. He's been out here before, but not with all these poles and stuff on the ground. We had a bit of a talk out there in the yard before, and he asked if I could stay away from the tarp today as well.
Yeah, sure. Maybe what Kane's saying here maybe should have been done early in the piece and just forfeited the fact that this little horse has. There's some canter right out here in the open.
We won't go near that tarp.
Not the tarp. Don't do the tarp, Kane.
But we'll just let him flow around here and let him have a good experience. I think
Less
he's had
than 10 seconds.
a reasonably good start to life. So I'd like to thank you all for watching, and yeah, good luck with your horses. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kane.
Would you please thank all our judges, Dirk Schrader, Lynn Palm, Sandy Simmons and Judy Harvey. Give them all a big round of applause.
Indeed. Thank you very much to our illustrious judges.
We have been asked to place people first, second and third, and it took us a while, and we had to have some in-depth conversations up here, and we were really struggling with that. So we have decided there is an equal second. So with that, I would like to announce to everyone here at EQUITANA 2014, the Way of the Horse winner. Everyone put your hands together for Bruce O'Dell!
Bruce, congratulations. It's been an amazing competition. You're a worthy winner. I'd like to present you with the buckle. I hope you wear it with pride, and I wish you the best for your future. Thank you, Bianca. Thank you, Kane. All the best.
And presenting the inaugural trophy, Ken Faulkner, winner of last year, 2013. And we have the winner, Bruce O'Dell. That was amazing, amazing. You did perform very well over the 4 days, but at times we had little hiccups that suggested that it wasn't going to be as complete a performance as you actually ended up producing. I think all the crowd thought it was fabulous. Just run us through the 4 days really quickly.
Yeah, I chose this little mare even before they come into the pen. I was hoping I would have drawn her. Just something about her that I liked. She'd be the one I'd take home. We started working with her, everything was fine, but she had issues around the girth, which we sort of still have to overcome a bit of them issues still. But I knew once I got on her back, she was listening to me pretty well. She's direction's not too bad for 4 days. I'm pretty happy with it. And she's very brave, and you point her at something, she just goes ahead and does it for you. She's a beautiful little filly, so couldn't have asked for a better pick out of her.
The way that horse moved around today was exceptional, and I think it showed back when we first started talking about getting those feet moving. Bruce was on that right from the start, and he really had that momentum going with his little horse, and she was very comfy with that, and it showed today. You know, when you came out and trotted and cantered around there, I thought it's all over right here. He's got the buckle.
Certainly you were quick to come out of that gate there, and I'm sure it was, you had in your mind ambitious, but you could not have thought that you were going to be able to perform as gloriously as you did, and basically that was the mare just stepped up for you. That was beyond expectation, surely.
Yeah, I just thought, well, I probably couldn't do the obstacles in the round pen anyhow, so the sooner I got on and get her out here, I knew she wasn't going to do anything. She's fine with everything on her back, and I was sort of silently confident that she would. If I pointed her in a direction, she was going to go for me. She's just been telling me she's been nice all the time, so yeah, I'm happy.
Now, a sign of a real horseman. He could anticipate what that mare was thinking and what she was likely to do, even without prior training. A worthy winner. Congratulations. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed the show, and that's all from us here at EQUITANA 2014.